Hi, how are you and Camo? I am the girl who was there when you bought him and who owned him first. These are the photos of the arrival of Camo at my place. Don't take too much notice of the tight halter and ropes. I got them from the horse dealer when I bought him. He was pretty excited, as you can see. I think he had never seen so much meadow in his life before. Camo seems to have been owned for 2 years by an old man in his 80s and lived on a farm. Then he was traded in for a Frisian, so that's how he became dealer owned. He went from dealer to dealer and ended up in the end in the property of the original dealer. And that is how he ended up on the horse market nearby, where I found him in the morning of July the 28th. I just went my own way for a moment. I was curious about his asking price, because he was so excited and beautiful that everybody was talking about that beautiful pony tied up there. But because of impossible behavior, according to all the people around, nobody wanted to buy him. However, I noticed something friendly in his eyes, showing that he did not mean to be so difficult to handle. He was treated unfriendly and stood just tied up to a post when I was discussing about buying him, as I thought him to be a very nice pony for my friend, but not for me, when he was suddenly sold before my eyes. I thought, well, bad luck, and wanted to walk away already, as I wanted to offer him a good home, although I hadn't prepared for buying any pony at all. Then the new owner came towards me and said, "You can buy him from me, if you wish." I wanted to see his movements, but the poor animal was so upset that I could hardly touch him, and the big, really rude man who was running with him through a narrow alley nearby was almost torn down by him. As by coincidence, an acquaintance of mine passed by and looked at his stud papers for me. Then everything suddenly went very quickly. Before I knew it, I got his rope pushed in my hand and had to get the money out of the wall to pay for him as soon as possible. And at that same moment my mother passed by and was totally flabbergasted about me buying a pony in less than 5 minutes. So there I stood with a totally freaked out and panicky pony that I did not even knew the name of, and oh my gosh, I was in desperate need of a trailer. I walked on my own with Camo for 1.5 hours through the very busy village, but was quickly able to buy a stallion chain. I had him graze somewhere to relax a bit, and every time I noticed the police driving by, as you don't see very often a small blonde girl who has just bought an excited stallion. Usually there are only elderly horse dealers walking over that market. Then at last the trailer arrived, and as a true miracle, after all that had happened to him during the morning, Camo walked straight in without any problem. When driving home, I could luckily arrange very quickly for a place to stay for him out by Lena's place, who you also met when we brought him to you. I did not know Pauline personally before, but she very generously immediately offered to come over with her trailer and to put Camo in her own meadow. I could not even touch Camo the first week and take care of a small wound he had sustained, but couldn't change that. I went to see him every day to gain his trust and decided to keep him. Little by little things went better, and I could get him out of the meadow and out of the herd, and even play and run with him on the meadow. In that way I could also start brushing him gently, Camo being a bit scared about me touching his tail and legs, and he really disliked my big red brush in the beginning. At the stable where my horse is, some friendly people I knew already for some time came towards me, telling that they really were looking for a pony already for quite some time. I told them that they could have a look, but that I was unwilling to sell him at the moment. They came and had a look, and I had the feeling it immediately clicked between them. I really thought this over, and concluded for myself that this was why I had bought him, to look for and give him a good home, and, to be honest, after my holiday I wouldn't have had the time I would like to spend with him anymore. So I decided to sell them to those people, and they came over to pay me. Strangely enough, they came with only a small amount, and they would pay the rest next week. Oh well. I knew them and thought everything would be all right. Now that was far from the truth, and we decided to agree on a date to pay me in full, and I asked them again if they were really sure about it, as I would take him back without any problem. And yes, they were very sure and would pay me next month. That month came, and I got an email from them that they couldn't pay for Camo. But I had already taken my distance from him, and it was now their pony, and they were in debt with me. So this went out of control, and they didn't pay for stabling anymore and hardly ever visited Camo. So Pauline and I decided to put him up for sale again before the weather turned too cold. The reason why we told you he was a green pony was that he had probably got stuck with his halter in the gate of the meadow, and we thought he wasn't so easy to handle anymore. It proved to be the contrary on the day we sold him to you. I was already at the meadow at 9:30 and Pauline was overdue, so I couldn't do any better than brush him and hug him, so I did him over completely. He was so easy to handle I couldn't believe it. So that is how it went with Camo, and I hope he will be far better off now, and you are going to work with him in an easy way. We would very much like to pay you a visit when it's warmer again. Can we do that? I am very curious as to how he is going to behave when driven in front of a cart, because it is such a special and nice pony. If you have any more questions, you have my email address. Regards, Sammy.